This is chapter 5, practice tests, numbers 9 through 12. Initially, I told you to skip them because I have something on there right, and I was going to remove it from the test. Actually, I had intentions to remove it from the test, but forgot to remove it from the actual test before I hit print. Although you have 16 problems on the test, and you get to choose your, 13 problems that you want to go over, I didn't want you to have to be exempt from these, so if you want to do these problems, I'm going over them now for you. So if you want the option to have them, you can choose to do these problems. And I'm talking about numbers 9 through 12, which is the centroid problem. So let's quickly look at that. Let's recall that the centroid of this problem is V, and centroids are found by medians. Median, the median for a line segment, example ST, the median is RX, and medians are formed from an angle to the opposite side. Here's the other median. If I'm looking at line segment TR, the median is SU. And again, if we remember that medians, that line segment will meet at the midpoint. So that means that TU is congruent to RU. And if I plug in all the values that was given to us, UT is 8 inches, here's UT is 8 inches automatically. That means that RU is 8 inches because U is at the midpoint. Point U is at the midpoint. And then we have RX. RX here goes through the centroid. The whole length of this segment is 14 inches. And then SV, which is here, line segment SV is 6 inches. And then we have VW, which is 4 inches. What we need to remember is there is a special theorem that deals with centroids. And we need to remember that when we look at a centroid, which is point V, that this is the full median, WT. But on the median, the length of the median line is divvied up into 3 congruent pieces. Or the segment is divvied up like so, I should say. Let me back that up. The median WT is divided into in this particular way. WV is 1/3 of the line and VT is 2/3. Remember, the short side of a median from the centroid is 1/3 and the longer is 2/3. That's the same thing with RX. The short side, which is VX, is 1/3 and the longer VR is 2/3 the length. And finally, the last median, which is SU. Remember, the short side is 1/3 the length and the longer is 2/3 the length. So how do we figure this? Here's VT. We need VT. We want this length here, and we're given VW. VW is 4. Remember, I said the short segment, that's the theorem actually, it's 1/3. VW is 1/3. Okay, so it's divvied into 3 parts. If I take this in 3 parts, 1 part is equivalent to 4 because it's 1/3. That means I need 2 more thirds or 2 more parts. Well, here would be the other part will be another 4 and another 4 to make 8. So VT is going to be 8. And the total length of WT is 12. It's divided into 3 parts. The first third is 4. The second third will be 8. And this will be 12. So what is the length of VT? If VW is 1/3 or 4, that means that 2 of the thirds is going to be 4 and 4, which make 8 inches. So VT is 8 inches. How do we find RV, which is located here? Well, what's the full length of RX? It's given to us as 14. That means we need to divvy it up into 3 congruent parts. And simply what we can do is take out our calculators. And hopefully you can see this on the board here. Okay? It's 14 inches divided into 3 parts. That means that each part is 4 and 6 tenths, 4 and 7 tenths, 4 and 7 tenths. Well, if I'm looking at RV, RV is the longer of the 3/3. RV has to be 2/3 of the length. So 1/3 is like 4 and 7 tenths. If I multiply that by 2, that means that RV should be roughly 9 3/10 of an inch. Or inches, excuse me. And then finally, or next I should say, RT. Well, what's the length of RT? Easy to find. RT, because we just found, or we're given, UT is 8, and because U is at the midpoint, that means RU is 8. So therefore, the full length of RT is 8, which makes 16 inches. 8 plus 8 is 16 inches. And finally, UV, which is here. This is the 1/3 portion from the centroid. That means that the SV from S to the centroid is the 2/3, and that length is 6. Okay? Well, if I divvy that in half, it'll tell me how many thirds I'm supposed to have. 6 1/2 is going to be 3. So from here to here is 3, then here to here is 3, and then the last third, so this is 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. Again, 1/3 maybe about there, approximately, it's a rough estimate. 2/3 here, 3/3. Okay, and if I divvy that in half, that'll give me 3. That's the 6. That means that each part is going to be 3. So VU is going to be 3 inches, and the full length of SU is 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches. This section or chapter is in 5.3 of the lesson. I went over that. So if you want to review, please do so at this particular time for the test.